Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to all of you. Good morning, good afternoon, good
due to
night.
safety and sanitation requirements. For tips on how to secure your pets, please contact the National Emergency Management Agency at 466-5100 or by visiting NEMA.care. From danger to safety, NEMA's there for you. I am Jamelia Henry.
The 18th of June. Wow. The year has slipped by. Half the year has already gone. Next week is big music festival, a lot of action here. But we're talking sports. We're bringing to you all kind of sports. Tonight, we're going to have Mr. Jeffrey Hazel, the director of sports. He is going to be in with us about 7:30. And then about 8:15, we're going to be having the president of the Leeward Islands Cricket Board. Elections coming up on Saturday. Godspeed. Would he retain his seat? Would he give it up to the challenger, so to speak, Mr. Carlisle Powell? We had him here on the program last week, and he made some interesting comments. And we'll hear the other side, because it is said there are three sides to a story: your side, my side, and the truth. And we're going to hear from Enoch about what he would have done for the last 10 years he was in office and what he proposes to do for the next 2 years in the first instance, because it's a 2-year term. We say happy birthday to those persons who are celebrating birthdays today, and we wish you the best. Hope you enjoyed. Those persons who are celebrating anniversaries, happy anniversary to you. Those who are celebrating particular milestone, whatever it may be, we say congratulations to you. And if you are actually going through a period of bereavement, on behalf of On the Ball, the management and staff of WINNFM 98.9, the board of directors, and myself and my family, we extend condolences to you. And we know last Sunday, the late Lester Blackett out of Nevis, he was laid to rest. And the Federation was shocked on the weekend to hear of the passing of the late Mr. Dexter Tyrrell, the immediate past office manager of the St. Kitts and the Nevis Football Association. And he was the deputy director of sport. And we say condolences to his family, friends, his colleague, his community. A very big activist in the football arena. I think he was once the president of the Rams Village Superstars. We say condolences to them as well. And we crave your indulgence as we just have a moment of silence in respect of his passing. May he rest in peace. Now, what do we have on the program tonight? We have football, let's start with a little bit of table tennis. The 5 members of the St. Kitts and Nevis Table Tennis Association registered to do the ITTF, International Table Tennis Federation's the ITTF exams, which is coming up sometime in October. The St. Kitts and Nevis Table Tennis Association, I have the privilege and honor of being the president, and we have registered 5 persons for this ITTF umpires exam. Umpiring, refereeing, whatever you want to call it according to the different sports, it's an integral part for the success, not only the success, but the hosting of it. And we're going to be having 5 candidates. And it's interesting, registration period ended the 16th of this month, and one would have up until the 1st of August this year to pay the registration fee of $50, and the exam is going to be between the 16th and the 30th of October. Normally you hear exam is one day, but that's interesting. The ITTF, they're giving you a period, And you say that, and all 5 candidates for St. Kitts and Nevis will have to be in the same space at the same time. And we are going to hope that everyone be successful. And they're doing a good thing, the ITTF. They are actually going to be having, technically, an umpire's course walking through what is required for umpiring table tennis. And that is a wonderful, something really wonderful. And I wish all the candidates success when the date comes around. And we have World Cup T20 cricket. Boy, all kind of things happening there. And blub, 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 blub. Let's talk about cricket. And while we say cricket, the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Dr. Drew, he made some interesting comments actually, was it today? And there are 2 things. We're just going to pull it up where he made some announcements regarding to Michael Louis and what his government has done to actually big up Michael Louis as it is. Let's go to recording from Freedom FM. Give us a little, we are buffering here. And these comments were made on issues today. And we might have to come back to you, Mr. Prime Minister. But while we say that, the Minister of Sports, the Honorable Samal Duggins, he made a presentation to Michael Louis, and we are reading it from the SKNIS's post, St. Kitts and Nevis Information System. Minister of Sports, Honorable Samal Duggins, celebrated the sporting achievement of Michael Louis, the exceptional right-handed batsman who has become the first player from St. Kitts to be selected to the West Indies senior men's cricket team. Louis's West Indies debut will come in the upcoming 3-match test series against England in July. In celebrating and support of his achievement, Minister Duggins presented Louis with a grant of EC $10,000 to go towards his preparation for the upcoming series. Minister Duggins commended Louis on his historic achievement to date, which has positioned him to be an ambassador for St. Kitts and Nevis. And we say congratulations to Michael Louis once more. And he picked himself. 682 runs, only 2 players to get above. Let me take back that. 4 players, I think it was, got 500 or more runs. And he got not only more than 600, 682, almost 700. So we commend Michael Louis for that. And we also commend the Honorable Samal Duggins for this kind gesture. I know social media has been well alive with views being shared on what should be happening, who should be giving what. Some mention diplomatic passport, some mention house and land, some mention naming of various things after Louis. And that was the announcement actually from the Prime Minister. They would have made some contributions to him. And let's try to see if we're going to get it up again. And I think this is really a big achievement, massive. $10,000 easy. And, well, I don't want to tell you. If I can't get it up, in the end, I will. But I'll try to get it up still before I break the news, because I want to give the Prime Minister the opportunity to pick up his chest, as some people would say, in terms of what the government of St. Kitts and Nevis has done from Michael Louis. Now, we seem to have got it. Oh, it's buffering again. I am not certain what's happening, so it looks like we'll have to do it differently. But let's get on with the news. In terms of volleyball, oh boy, we say congratulations to two youngsters who have actually made it to the next round of qualification for the Olympic beach volleyball. And that is something tremendous. The Olympics will be held in France, and historic achievement. St. Kitts and Nevis beach volleyball team qualifies for Olympic final. And we know over the years, two persons have been big on the beach volleyball, Sean Seabrooks and Sinclair Hodge. And I like what the St. Kitts and Nevis Amateur Volleyball Association is doing. They are integrating youth and experience. So on this occasion, and I'll read it, article Bastia St. Kitts, June the 13th, 2024. The St. Kitts Amateur Volleyball Association's cover is thrilled to announce a historic milestone for the nation's beach volleyball program. For the first time ever, a St. Kitts and Nevis team has qualified for the final stage of Olympic qualification. This momentous event will take place in Tlaxcala, Mexico, from June 20th to 24th, 2024. This is no ordinary tournament. It will be held at the same venue that recently hosted the World Beach Volleyball Championships, underscoring the significance of this competition. The stakes are incredibly high, as the winner of this qualifying tournament will secure a coveted spot in the 2024 Paris Olympics. The top 12 teams from NORCECA region, that is North America, Central America, and the Caribbean, will compete for the Olympic dream. SCAVA President Glenn Quinlan expressed immense pride in the team's accomplishment. I quote, "This is a landmark moment for beach volleyball in St. Kitts and Nevis. The dedication and talent of our athletes and coaches have paved the way for this incredible opportunity. We are excited to cheer on our team as they compete for a chance to represent our nation on the biggest sporting stage in the world." SCAVA extends its deepest gratitude to the St. Kitts and Nevis Olympic Committee for its unwavering support in making this dream a reality. Their commitment to athlete development has been instrumental in this historic achievement. Special thanks also go out to Coach Richard Swan and our dedicated executive members whose tireless efforts and passion for the sport have been a driving force behind the success. End quote. Carrying the hopes of the nation will be the dynamic duo of veteran Sinclair Hodge and one of SCAVA's extraordinary talents, Najee Hendrickson. Coached by the ever-supportive Richard Swan, this team is ready to give it their all on the sand in Tlaxcala. And this is going to be, it's not going to be a stroll in the park, but hey, for you to be the best, you have to beat the best. You can't just sit down and expect everything is going to come and happen as easy as that pop. No, you have to be the best. And we wish them all the best and hope they do qualify. It's not an easy thing, but we really want to go out and hope that they actually win this. Okay, let's try something with the Prime Minister. I'm still trying to give him his kudos, Jamster. I'm going to try it from my laptop.
Later on, some telephone calls, if time permits.
Freedom is a place that I've come for over a decade now.
Yes, indeed.
To discuss the pertinent issues of the people, critical matters. So I want to say good afternoon to the citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis who are joined to this program by whatever means or medium, so that we can discuss and have information relayed, pertinent information, of course, as to the affairs of the country. I think it's important to use different media to transmit information to our people. And today, as from time to time, I'll take the fruit, which is I consider it a more down-to-earth, less formal approach.
Indeed.
But as important. So the importance is not lost in that at all. So I want to thank you for having me. And I usually have your tough questions.
Yeah, I got a new lineup for you. I know. I don't get a chance to come to the round table, so this is my round table.
I open up my myself to the press. I don't think anybody will sit down and just have the press sit around. Who, of course, the first petition to be topics and so forth. But nonetheless, I'm happy to be here. EK, just let me update our people on a number of critical matters. On the lighter side, of course, I want to really congratulate Mr. Louis. Kyle call him, I think it's Mikhail Louis. He is someone who, of course, the first Kittitian to be selected to the West Indies cricket team, the West Indies Test cricket team. It is a tremendous, tremendous achievement. As he was going through his different stages, I will call him from time to time to encourage him and to let him know the people of the Federation, even though he's from St. Kitts, are behind him. And I think he has demonstrated thus far, of course, being competent in cricket. He has demonstrated good skill. But he is a disciplined person, and he seems to understand clearly what he's about and what he wants. And I know he comes from a cricketing family, and so it is a tremendous, tremendous achievement that he has, of course, reached. I don't know if he fully grasped what this is for all those cricketers over the years who were denied entry into the West Indies cricket team. I think he has fulfilled what would have been the aspirations of people here in St. Kitts. We brought him to the cabinet yesterday, and I just want to inform the nation that we recognize him, but we recognized him tangibly as well. Just to say that the south stand of our Warner Park Stadium, cricket stadium, will be named in his honor. We also will name a street after him, preferably the one that he grew up on. And thirdly, we have also extended a piece of the rock, a piece of land, to call his own. And so we wanted to congratulate him, but we also wanted to congratulate him tangibly, and we have extended these things to him. So we want to wish him well on his tour to England, and to continue to do his best. The only aspiration that I have for him, or expectation rather, that I have for him, is for him to do his best. And that is enough for me. No extra pressure, just encouraging him to go out and do his best. EK, as you know, I just came back from Turkey.
That was the Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Drew, and indicating what the government of St. Kitts and Nevis has done for Kyle in recognition of him being the first Kittitian to make the West Indies team. And that is a wonderful thing indeed. And this, what the Prime Minister has said, has come in addition to the $10,000 EC that the Minister of Sport, the Honorable Samuel Duggins, has presented to Michael Louis, the first petition to make the West Indies team. Of course, what he has done is the first stage, making the West Indies team, being selected. So the next stage is actually him playing a test match. And all the pundits are indicating that he will play the first test match for various reasons. Coming out of the 4-day tournament, he was the most informed batsman. Not the most informed opener, the most informed batsman. No other batsman made more runs or close to him. So he should have picked himself. Plus, the incumbent opener, Tej Chandapal from Guyana, who went to Australia the last time a test series was played, he has been dropped. So it's a like-for-like drop-in and selection. So all the pundits are optimistic, confidence. They have maximum confidence that Mikhail will play his first test match, the first test match. And of course, just a reminder, he's the first Kittian to be selected for the West Indies. He's not the first Kittian to play test match, because another Kittian would have played for England a few years ago, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the year, but we say that. And this is a wonderful thing. We are now waiting, and some persons, they have been saying perhaps he should also be given a diplomatic passport. We'll have to wait and see how that works out. But Jamstad, and I say good night to him, he's my production manager, the first test umpire from the Leeward Islands came out of SP where the best be, the late Andrew Weeks. And he umpired his first test match in the fourth test, West Indies versus India, back in 1983. So we are talking 41 years ago. The late Andrew Weeks, he umpired his first test match in Antigua. And to date, he is the only Kittian to have umpired a test match. And I don't know of anything that has been done to commemorate this. And now that Kyle has been given these perks, as it were, I'm certain that the government will start thinking and considering something for the late Andrew Weeks posthumously. Now, ladies and gentlemen, since he's here a little early, we have the director of sports, and there's a saying, early to bed, early to rise. And since the director of sports is here, he is to be here from 7:30, but maybe he has a date. I don't know. I hope the wife isn't listening. As we say, good evening, sir. Welcome to On the Ball here at WINNFM 98.9.
Good evening, Mr. Mills, and good evening to your listening audience. It's a pleasure for me again to be here on this radio program, On the Ball. Quite a long time I haven't been here. I think the last time was sometime last year when we were discussing schools football. So it's a pleasure for me to be back in the studios.
Definitely. And do you mind reminding us of who you are, sir?
Yes, I'm Jeffrey Hazel. Most persons would know me as Pedro, Director of Sports. I hail from anywhere between Old Road and Sandy Point. So,
well, yes. I didn't want to say that you have SP where the best be blood in you. Correct. But I don't want to boast about these things. Yes. But on a sad note, though, Mr. Hazel, we extend condolences to you and your team at the Department of Sports on the passing of the late Dexter Tyrrell, your Deputy Director of Sports. It was indeed a shocking news, and social media was a light burning down on the weekend with everybody expressing their condolences. It was indeed a tremendous shock. And again, we wish you condolences. We observed a moment's silence at the start of the program for him. And he's going to be missed, a strong supporter of the Rams Village Superstars. And it so happened that the last thing I saw of him, not in person, was a video on Saturday night, I think it was. Friday night. When his team, Rams Village Superstars, the defending champion, took on a 3-0 thrashing from the Montreville Farm Clean White Old Road. And some persons may argue that maybe that loss got to him, I don't know. As it was said about a particular gentleman way back in 1996 when Kenya defeated the West Indies. There was a particular gentleman who passed the day after from a heart attack. So some said that maybe he took it to heart, as it is.
Well, let me accept on behalf of, everyone who knew Dexter, the condolences from yourself personally and from Win FM. Yes, everybody would have seen that video circulating with him in his usual good spirits at a football match, Ram Village Superstars versus Montreville Farm Clean White, Old Road. And I was there as well. I was there supporting football. And if you look carefully at the video, you would see myself wearing a red shirt and Dexter was in a blue shirt. And it was after the match, he said, well, we should have exchanged shirts. Knowing that he's from Village, I'm from Old Road. Just a little bit of joke for that. No, he didn't take it by heart because when we left there, he was okay with the result. And he just wanted Village to continue doing well. He was an avid supporter of Village, served as president on one occasion, served on the executive. And then he graduated through the national level, served as an executive with the Peter Jenkins administration of the SKNFA. He was several managers for different teams, senior national team, all the way down to U20s. And he also recently was, a part of the general coordinating team, would make sure that the games are properly organized at the SKNFA matches. And one thing that really stood out for me was a couple of years ago, there was a training in Miami. And he wasn't invited to the training, but he took it upon himself to be there in Miami for that training. And subsequently after that, went to the Olympic, the CONCACAF Women's Olympic qualifiers. That was the final stage. St. Kitts Nevis would have played in that. To be a part of that organization, to get as much information as he possibly can, so that when his moment was called upon to do those games, he would be versed with all the information. Just recently, he would have served, of course, in the Department of Sports. And he was more than just a colleague for me personally. He was a brother. He was a friend. And if Dexter and I argued every single day, every day. But we argued to get the best out of each other. And he was very, very supportive. One of the times I recall really is when we were terminated from the SKNFA. We just took it and we went home, went for a walk in the hills, and we just said, you know what, we have to bounce back from this. This would not, keep us down. We have to bounce back. And he was a man who always gave. He gave selflessly, very kind, very empathetic. And maybe the only thing that Dexter and I did not agree on was who is AM in team. That was the only thing we never agreed upon. Because all the arguments we had, like I said, we ended up with a solution. He'll be missed. He'll be missed by all of us. The Department of Sports is in shock right now. I don't know. People say that I'm strong. I don't know because, I was with him up to about, minutes to 12 Friday night. We sit every single day. I'm sure everybody in St. Kitts and Nevis, when they see Dexter, they see me when they see me, they see Dexter. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm. I don't know. I just have to be strong right now for everybody's family. Myself, my family, all of the person who would have known Dexter. At the office, I was told today again by one of our colleagues that, listen, I can't go into that room. I don't even know if I can call a meeting with the staff right now because, like I said, on Friday we would have all met and he would have spoken to the staff. But we're all in shock. We're all grieving for his transition, because one of the things that Elvis Pepe Isaac would have said to us in that meeting on Fridays is to choose words carefully. And we were comparing two athletes. And in our culture, we always say an athlete is better than another. But he said, we can't say that. We should not say that. But find another way to coin it so that these athletes would not feel left out. So Dexter's transition, to me, I don't think he's dead. He's transitioned. And we are not going to have a funeral for Dexter. We're going to have a celebration because Dexter lived. And we have to honor his legacy, honor his memory that way.
And he would have been instrumental, very active in your department's summer sporting camp.
Yeah, Dexter was the one that was charged with that responsibility to organize the camp, the summer camp. And we still are going to have the summer camp. It's going to be from the 15th of July, 15th to the 19th. We're going to go to Sadler's Sporting Complex so that we can capture as much persons in the rural St. Kitts, those in rural West, those in rural East. And we know Sadler's has an underutilized facility there. So we want to use that facility for our camp activities that first week. And it's football, cricket, table tennis, netball, volleyball, basketball that's going to be played there at that time. And then we're going to come to Bastia for the second week and include all of those sports. Now we'll have golf, we'll have swimming as part of that. Now, we're left with a bit of a void, but one of the things that he mentioned in the meeting on Friday was that, listen, we're going to form some committees. We're not going to just leave it for Dexter and myself or any other person. We're going to form committees where people are responsible and supportive of what we're doing. And so we're going to go through with that. Our committees are going to be formed and all of us in the department will be responsible for something. It's $25 for the entire week. Of course, all of the persons, the participants who attend would get a camp shirt and lunch daily. And of course, the training sessions, you'll get the training sessions. I'll go a little bit more in depth during my presentation when I start speaking about some of the activities that we are currently doing with respect to netball and cricket in schools. So yes, Dexter was very instrumental in that. All the sponsorship letters, he dealt with all of those. Seeking support for equipment, whatever it was. Dexter was there at the forefront doing it, and we gave him all the support. And we just have to carry through now.
A tremendous loss indeed, and again, condolences. Your football season, primary and high school last year, a tremendous success. And some argued you had more spectators in some instances than the national football when you're having some matches in the Premier League. The parents were extremely supportive. To me, they got involved in the games much more than maybe even the players themselves. And that was one time one team had a lot of coaches. Yes. All the mothers, yes. Kick it, go down the field, hold him, don't let him go. And that was really tremendous. Would you be able to recreate that moment, that environment for your other netball you mentioned, cricket?
Well, we started back in 2023, January, with the return of school sports. And I want to thank the Ministry of Education for giving us the permission to get back into the schools and supporting the activities of sports. And in particular, the CEO, Francil Morris, I know sometimes he doesn't like his name to be called, but when we met, we said, this is what we want to do. And him coming from a sporting background, who was the general secretary of the SKN Athletics, understood our vision when it came to getting sports back into the school. So we started with athletics. And persons, wondered why athletics, because, we wanted to start with a bang. And, the crowd when it comes to athletics, they're always there, especially on 100 meters.
Indeed.
Supporting the various schools. So we started with that, and then we said, you know what? It was going to be a tough time organizing the others, and we used that period from around April down to August preparing for football. And so we had football last year, the primary school, secondary football. That ended in January this year. And as you indicated, it was a spectacular. Parents, supporters came out to support the various schools. And I think that happens when it comes to youth sports a lot, because they want to support their children. And so wherever sport is, whatever activity young people are getting involved in, the parental support is very, very important. And I must say kudos to the parents for granting permission to the children of the various schools. And the schools played a very big part in it as well, Mr. Mills, because they had posters all around Facebook inviting the community in which the school is located to attend these matches. And so it was a success. We're now getting out of calls now from different organizations who want to be on board now with football. And that is something that we want to spread out across the board for sports in general, not just for one sport, not just for football, not just for athletics, not just for tennis, but all sports.
That is wonderful. Now, I know persons would have been concerned. This is now the exam period. CXE exams that would have started last month, and coming into the end of term exams, promotion exams in the primary school, well, in schools, period. Mm-hmm. And persons would have been very concerned, extremely concerned, I should say, with cricket being played while exams are being done and children are studying for the exams. How challenging have you found that, and how have you worked around it?
Yeah, I don't think it was a challenge, and this is something Dexter and I discuss in the hills when we walk, how we're going to do this. And we always look at the problem and try to find the solutions for it. For primary school netball, we decided, you know what, it is going to be a bit difficult moving the children, the young females, from point A to point B in St. Kitts. So they're already in zones. So we said, you know what, let us keep them in this zone for this period. It is a pilot project in a sense for us. As a matter of fact, this probably would have been, we would not have had these tournaments up to 70 years ago. 7 years ago, we had this tournament. And so it was new again to us, many of us, some persons who are in the department would have moved on for various reasons, and we have new persons there. So we said, let us keep those primary school netball in the specific zone, let them play their matches, bearing in mind that we wanted the week before examinations, they not to do any matches during that week. So their focus would be on the exam preparation, mm-hmm. and then return immediately after the exams. So there would be no interruptions. So that occurred. We played right up to the quarterfinals, and it would be less teams now after the exams. There were some very, very good matches, and I want to use this moment, Mr. Mills, to apologize to the sporting public, the general public, for us not disseminating information, the results, a bit quicker than usual. There were some technical difficulties at our office that we just really got sorted out today. our email addresses and everything was, I don't know the technical terms, but we had hacked. We had those challenges. But some very, very good matches playing in those zones. And last Thursday, we went to a quarterfinal match at Irish Town. It was Beach Allen Primary against Sandy Point Primary. When we got there, the score was 9-9, and it was in the first 5-minute overtime period. It went down to 5 overtime periods.
Wow.
5 overtime periods, and Beach Allen edged Sandy Point.
No, something is wrong. Something wrong with that schedule.
Yeah, they edged them. I think they won 12-11 or something of that nature.
Extremely close.
But we recognize also that we cannot have children playing that long after the regulation period, because it's 10 minutes quarters, so it's a 40 minutes match, and you're playing 2 extra quarters and a half, basically. And so we said, you know what, we have to make some changes there. It's unfortunate that our rules this year allowed it, but you go and change something in the middle of it, then it creates more issues.
You can't do that.
So we had some very, very good games. Irish Town defeated George Moody Primary. We had Sadlers defeating Dean Glassford Primary, and Cairn Primary defeating Bounty Welch Primary. So those winners would play in the semi-finals. One of the things we also did was to play the matches in the communities. So matches were played at Dr. William Connor Primary School, in Newtown, Irish Town, Sadlers, Cairn, Molyneux. You realize I didn't say Warner Park at Pam Tyson Netball City, because it was a way of getting people back supporting netball, supporting the school teams. And that has worked for us thus far. We intend to keep the semi-finals and the finals also in the community. The support has been tremendous, as I said. And the only drawback from this is that the girls were not able to play a lot more matches as we really wanted to. And this is something that we've looked at also. As we go along, we find some challenges, and we try to look at how best we can do. Look how best we can solve them. So next year, God's willing, we intend to have more matches for the primary school netball.
I had the good fortune of looking at some games in Sandy Point, at the Sandy Point Sporting Complex.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sandy Point Primary, they were playing, was it Tyrrell Williams, I think?
Yes,
it may have been.
they played in that zone, yes.
And I really enjoyed it. The young ladies, the fight. And you had teachers, you had students supporting. I know the head teacher of Sandy Point and a few of our teachers, Sandy Point Primary, they were there. I was amazed with 2 things. Some of the players are very tall,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the players are very short. And I know that is a problem that we have had here in St. Kitts and Nevis with our sportsmen and the sportswomen. I think generally we are a short-boned people.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And even when our under 15 footballers especially, when they go out to play, some of them are so short,
Yes,
and they're coming up against guys who are tall and big, extremely bigger than Jamster and things like that. And I don't know, but it's just how we do it. And obviously a lot of mind work will have to be done, because I saw a picture of the African championship, on the 13 championship or something, and some little diminutive gentlemen playing some tall guys.
Yes.
And you see the tall guys looking big and bad and boasting, and the small guys beat them 2-1.
Yeah. It's just a mindset. It's just a mindset. And if David could have slew Goliath,
exactly.
anything is possible.
And what are the prizes for the netball?
Well, we have not done monetary prizes. We intend to do some equipment to the schools, because the schools, obviously, during COVID, everything, went here, went there, were destroyed. And so we're going to give some equipment to the various schools for them participating in the leagues. As we started with football, giving all the schools uniforms because they badly needed them. Because of due to the nature of this tournament, especially netball, we said, it's going to be difficult for us to get parents and the schools to get skirts for the girls. Let them play in their PE uniform. So we'll just provide the bibs for them to play in. And if we're able to start and people see what we're doing, we might just get a sponsor to say, hey, this was very good initiative. We can adjust this. We can adjust uniforms. We're on board. Because we do not have all of the resources, of course. So we definitely want to improve as we go along. We also would have had cricket, primary school cricket, and again being played in zones. But we recognize that cricket is a longer version than netball. It takes more time to play cricket than netball.
Sorry, when were the netball games played?
Netball games were played on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Thursday afternoons from 3:30.
Okay,
3:30 and 4:30. And it gives the opportunity for parents as well. If you're playing in the second game, especially to be there at the facility. And usually it was the home team that played last. For cricket, so we said, you're going to play in zones, but we got permission from the Ministry of Education to start those matches at 1 p.m. And for example, the Bastia zone was played in Warner Park. So the 4 public schools in Warner Park would have played, and there were 2 matches playing at the same time. The boundary was 30, 35, 40 yards, and playing on a small pitch, about 18 yards. Wides and no balls were counted as two runs, so we did not bowl them over, because we expected challenges. And I want to say now, Mr. Mills, that when COVID hit, these players were probably in grade 1, kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2. And so the fundamentals of the game really did not come until...
Mr. Pedro, could you hold a second as we have a caller online? Good evening, caller. Welcome to On The Ball. You're live. Caller, hold a second. We're getting you a little soft. We want to do some adjustments, please. And while we do that, you're listening to On The Ball here to WINNFM 98.9. We have the Director of Sports, Mr. Jeffrey Hazel, with us. And if you want to call in, make your suggestions, ask some questions, share concerns, 4660989. Or if you're not in a position to call direct, you can call via WhatsApp, 668-2055. Caller, you're there now? You're hearing us?
Yeah, hearing you, Gwen.
Okay, we're hearing you loud and clear.
So as I was saying to Pedro, the cricket, I mean, he's talking about track and field and football and so, but you should understand, remember cricket, they play at summertime, so instead of having this program thing, they need to set date for cricket so the players then could get more game playing. Because when they're going out to play league and so, they're looking like they know what they're doing. So you need to set some more date earlier for the cricket playing. So the youngsters them could get more playing. Because I coaching a team right now, watching the youngsters them. I let them all the way play. Some of them playing football and they could cricket. But you know cricket playing now is more interested in the football. Check what we got, we got a player make it St. Kitts who West Indies. The first player make it to St. Kitts. What do you think will happen now? Them they don't want to play more cricket. They're coming out to play cricket because you let them coming out and taking up back. And if you ain't got something for them playing place with them there, they're going to just want all the sip and the world smoke for the people. So we need to start to bring back this whole thing back in the program. Saturday afternoon, and so you see you then coming to come play quick and so now you see them are passing, the panny was smoking and doing something somebody else. If you ain't getting them come back inside the system, the youth are going straight. So you need to say something for them. Not just about football, because everybody want to play football. Everybody could run. So everybody just need a quick thing because when you're watching the youth them playing, they say, hey, coach, show me how to do this, coach, show me how to do that. I said, what happened? He said, but we never play cricket, but we want to play the game because we seen this guy make West Indies, we want to use for our toe. So Pedro, them need to set something in play for these instead of football, and now we start to set with the cricket.
All right, Carla, thanks a lot. We appreciate that. And thank you for your input.
Yes, so I'm going to address what the caller said, but let me just finish quickly on what we're doing with the primary school cricket. So each zone would have played at a specific venue, and the winner would have emerged again to the quarterfinals. So in the Bastia zone, Irish Town Primary would have advanced. Irish Town and Beach Island Primary would have advanced on a net run rate. We had Sandy Point Primary advancing from their group, along with Newton Ground Primary, Joshua Obadiah Williams Primary, George Moody Primary. Those advanced to the quarterfinals.
You said 2 cricketers, and I know the parent of one of the children was very adamant because he wanted his child to play, and the child actually made the West Indies under 19 team this year. What provisions are there for any private school, or any school for that matter, private or government, that would not have a full 11, 3, 4, 5 cricketers, whatever number?
Well, it's a co-ed team, so males and females could have played in the primary school competition. As a matter of fact, even in the high school competition that I'll come to shortly. So we don't neglect anyone if they want to play, and the schools, the parents give permission for them to play in the competitions. Sure, we allow them to play. In the high school competition that we are hosting also currently, those matches are played every Saturday, and we recognize, and this is part and parcel of the question that you posed earlier. How were we able to come up with the matches right now, knowing that exams are ongoing? So these players that are in the high school, they're doing either their school exams or they're doing CXCs. So the only other day we had available was Saturday. And again, it's a pilot project. Never in the history of school cricket, matches were played on a Saturday. They were played on the afternoon during school. And the matches are well attended as well. In Connery, in St. Paul's, over in Nevis, at VOJN, these matches are played. Now, we have 6 teams participating in this competition: Gingerland Secondary, Charlestown Secondary, CFBC College. We have Sandy Point, Charles Z. Mill Secondary, Keon High School, and a development team. So in support of what you just said, if there are players who attend Bastia High School, Sadlers, Washi Virtuals, and they want to play, they can play for the development team.
Excellent.
And this includes females for all of the teams. As a matter of fact, we got a call last week asking for one of the players returning to the federation after a stint overseas, Jazara Claxton, if she could have played in the tournament. And we just wanted to make sure that we have our I's dot and T's crossed. Is Jazara a contracted player for West Indies? Would West Indies play in this competition? Ricky Skerritt's daughter, she plays also in the tournament. We have Alea Freeman from St. Paul's playing in this tournament. And there are other different females that are currently playing in this tournament. So 2 Saturdays ago, I saw Drace Taylor there, who is the manager of the Illinois Cricket Academy. And I said, Drace, what about our females? How can we get our females involved in what we're doing currently? So they're females. We will get them and we'll have them playing. So we're going to be organizing something specifically for females. So Carla, yes, I understand what you're saying. The Department of Sports can only do so much. And we are partnering with the Cricket Association to ensure that we have many, many more matches, many, many more tournaments for our young players.
You're listening to On the Ball here at WINNFM 98.9. Our guest tonight, our first guest, is Mr. Jeffrey Hazel, the Director of Sports, and he's briefing us about the programs that they are currently conducting in the primary schools and the high schools. At about 8:15, we will have Mr. Enoch Lewis, the president of the Leeward Islands Cricket Board. He will be joining us and telling us about the impending elections, which will be held on Saturday, 22nd of June.
Playing with that type of ball right now. And it's really because these players have not played any cricket since kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2. They have not played any cricket. And so we wanted them to play. There's some enthusiastic players there playing in the tournaments. And so we said, you know what, let us start. It's just a start for us. And we are going to get back to the level that we really were at. But we had to start somewhere. And, when we have young Elijah Mitchum from Beach Allen Prime with 101 runs.
Wow.
From just the Bastia zone. And a young, let me see if I can get his name, make sure that I have his correct name, from Irish Town Primary. Yes, Anel Archibald. And you probably would have remembered Anel Archibald as one of the goal scorers for Irish Town Primary. 97 runs. Javon Monzak from Joshua Obadiah Williams Primary. 86 runs. Thus far.
And are they playing T20s?
No, it's a T10.
T10.
T10 tournament. Again, we took into consideration the hours that they're going to be there. So playing basically 30 overs in a day. And they can rotate the players as they go along.
That's interesting. And in the senior, if I'm remembering correctly, Charles E. Mills, the first game, LaShawn Burgon, he is the captain. I don't think he did that great with the bat, but he got a fifer.
Yes.
5 wickets for something in the first game. What type of ball are they using, and how is the game structured?
Yes, so in the high schools, they play with white balls. It's 5.5 adult ball, 35 overs per team, per inning. And, just like an adult match, it's the same thing, because that is what they play when they go to on the 15s, on the 17s, competition, on the 19 competition for Leeward Islands, West Indies. And again, those matches are being played in Connery, St. Paul's, and VO Jetting in Nevis.
I remember way back when there was a TDC Cannon Football League, and that was played on Saturdays.
Yes.
I think people like Yellowman Isaac and those sort of people, that is where they were technically born as footballers going around the island. And it is said that that was probably the most successful schools football we would have had. And Saturdays give the opportunity for the parents to come out and watch and support their children. And I like that idea. And I like the idea the late afternoons as well. Parents, they finish working and they head. And it is important that children get that support from the start, not only when you reach to certain levels, but that encouragement. And I always say, if you see your child always beating the table, perhaps he's suggesting, I would like to be a drummer. Encourage him.
Yes.
If you see your child or children always singing, encourage them. If you see them always watching football or cricket or any type of sports, encourage them, because deep inside they're bringing out that to the surface and letting you know. So after the cricket and the netball, that basically brings us to the end of the term.
Yes, but what we intend to do, especially with the under 13, the primary school netball and cricket, is to keep them in a camp-like environment for a period of time. We're thinking long-term, where we can get them playing some more matches in and around the region. I know many years ago we also had the regional under 13 cricket. It is something that we are really thinking about in bringing back again, because we want our young sportsmen and women to play. And many of the West Indies players right now, Craig Brathwaite, for example, would have played in that on 13 cricket here in St. Kitts. So just yesterday I had a meeting with a potential sponsor, and this is what he was speaking about also, in bringing back these events. Listen, we want to invest in this. We like to see what you're doing right now. This is what we want to do. And so it is our mission really to ensure that we have these for our young men and women who can be the next Mickey Louis, who can be the next Josiah Claxton. We have to use those two individuals right now. They're young. Indeed. They're young, male and female. The young people would gravitate more to them now than if they hear about a Victor Eddy or, Luther Kelly, for example.
Indeed.
So we are using them as the role model, so that they can try to achieve as what these two or more would have achieved. Look at Cordell Cook, for example. Cordell Cook took some wickets in the under-19 tournament. He's currently playing in this tournament, and we have some others, LaShawn Bergen, as you mentioned, Amari Jones from Nevis, and from others who are going into
Xavier Henry?
Yes, who are going, Iwet Richards, who are going into the Leeward Islands on the 17 team. And this tournament in the high school is also preparing them, giving them some good match practice, so that when they get there, they have they're ready enough to play.
I like the fact that you said you're considering the under 13, because that has produced a lot of cricketers throughout the years, and you mentioned the Carlos Bradwitt, and I know back then Vernon Springer and
yes.
he was the driving force behind it, and I know your department would have been trying to get the West Indies sponsor that tournament, because that was basically the only under 13
in the
tournament
region
in the West Indies.
Yes.
And they have under 15, 17, but to me that is a good preparatory competition for the under 15, 17, etc. So I really wish you luck at that. You will get the West Indies board to come on and support you and your department with that under 13 competition.
Yeah, there's a will, there's a way. And I know one great philosopher from St. Kitts would have said, when working with FIFA, if you do, FIFA would do. So if we're able to do now, West Indies and the other supporters, sponsors would be able to do as well. And as I speak about supporters and sponsors, I should have from the onset, but I want to thank those persons, institutions who have really contributed to the cricket and netball. So for the high school cricket, we have Sun Island Clothing. Sun Island would have pumped in around $45,000 in this tournament.
Wow, that's a lot of bucks.
All of the schools have the uniform. Even the coaches, our coaches, have that's the shirts excellent. And everything to play in. I know it was a bit of a rush, really, and we wanted to get the schools in a specific color to play in, but that is going to come. We had to start somewhere. Nelson Spring Water out of Nevis, they came on board and providing all the water supplies for this tournament. We have Apple Cider, who is a ferry transportation service provider. Royal Logistics would have came on board again. The tournament was sponsored previously by Caribou through its brand Giant Malt, so they're still on board providing the drinks from the refreshments. The Ministry of Education, without them we won't be here. We won't be here. The Department of Sports in Nevis, who are very, very supportive of what we're doing. So it's not the Department of Sports in St. Kitts that's doing everything. We are working collaboratively to ensure that we have the cricket in the primary school and the high school. For netball, we would have got the support again from Government House through Her Excellency Dame Marcella Liebert. As a matter of fact, last year she would have indicated, as part of the celebrations for the 50th anniversary of the Caribbean Netball Champions, that she wanted to see more netball being played in our schools. And the support that she has given thus far has been tremendous. And we want to thank her. We want to thank all those other institutions for coming on board and supporting these programs. And if there's any more out there, some maybe untapped that want to give some contribution, and it doesn't have to be money, it can be some equipment that you want to donate to some of these players who you see are doing tremendously well. Just to motivate them, we welcome that. We welcome the support. So you can just reach out to us at the Department of Sports. We are very, very easy to find. And so, we just want to do what we can to help our young men and young women develop and advance in whatever area. Some of them may not be the best lawyer, the best person in academics, but they might be the next best sportsman and sportswoman from the Federation.
And quickly before we end this segment, what programs are you looking at? Have you started looking at any programs for the first term? I know there's the summer camp, the first 2 weeks, and last year it was 3 weeks. This year you're doing 2 weeks. But in terms of the first term, next school year, have you set any programs as yet for that?
Well, for the rest of the year, it's very, very busy for us. And part of the reason why we did 2 weeks summer camp as well is because of the current conditions that we're experiencing. We have a busy summer because, we have CPL coming up shortly. We have the Latin Americans male netball competition that is going to be here as well. In November, we have some tournaments coming. In December, we have Bangladesh tour of the West Indies, and we are hosting some of the matches here. So we've earmarked some dates already. We have the school football tournament that should be around the 3rd of October or thereabout. We also want to do tennis because we've missed tennis. So we want to do a school's tennis competition, working along with the Tennis Association. And aquatics is now becoming a big thing. And so we decided to plug in a school's swimming competition. As the caller said earlier, some might be footballers, some might be cricketers, some might be swimmers, whatever it is. We want to be able to create that avenue for them to use their talent, use their abilities. And so those are plugged in. We also are going to be thinking about golf, to see if we can do a golf tournament, and where we can support the associations. If it's the Karate Association, if it's a Table Tennis Association, we'll be able to do that to ensure that our young people get the requisite competition that they need.
Mr. Pedro, it was indeed a pleasure, as usual, having you here on the program On the Ball, and we are looking forward to having you again shortly. And you seem to be like an honorary member here. And we congratulate you on the tremendous job you are doing. It seems like you're not leaving anyone, like you said. I might be keen to athletics. I might not be interested in football or cricket. And other persons will be. Yes, some students are multi-talented, multi-skilled, multi-gifted. But there are those who just want to stay in one lane. Mm-hmm. And it's a good thing that you're reaching out and actually making provisions
for everybody.
Mm-hmm. So we congratulate you and we wish you all the best and what you're doing, sir.
Yes, thanks again for having us. The department, we're there for everybody. We're there for sports, not just a specific sport, but for all sports. And I want to thank also my colleagues at the department for their commitment, their invaluable service. The ground staff, the coaches, the custodial staff, whatever role they play in the department, we are serious about what we do, and I want to thank them from the minister up right down to the last person who served in the department. So thanks again, Mr. Mills, for having me, and I wish the program every success. And I'll be back definitely to give you some more updates on what we're doing in the Department of Sports. Thank you.
Definitely, and we appreciate that. Thank you for taking your time out. And again, you have our condolences on the passing of Dexter. And please keep up the good work. Please keep on producing the Jazara Claxtons, the Michael Louis, and the LaShawn Burgons.
Yes.
And the best wishes.
Thank you. Good night.
You have been listening to an interview with Mr. Jeffrey Hazel, the Director of Sports, updating us on the current programs, netball in the schools, cricket in the schools as well, and coming on to the end of the exams. And they must be complimented for actually fitting in the program with the exams, not really impacting negatively the students and the exams, especially those who are doing CAPE. We congratulate him on all the work, and we say thank you again once more for being here. We're now going to have a little break and invite you to stick and stay. And when we come back, we will have Mr. Enoch Lewis, the president of the Leeward Islands Cricket Board, with us. And he's already logged on. So stick and stay. Don't go away. Welcome back to On the Ball here at WINNFM 98.9. I am Troy Biff Mills, your host, and we'll get to Mr. Enoch Lewis, president of the Leeward Islands Cricket Board, in a second. But before we do so, we have a little bit of boat and sailing news. The St. Kitts and Nevis will be hosting a National Dinghy Championship July 1st to the 4th. There will be a sailing clinic. And then inviting all member federations to come on down to Frigate Bay Beach on July 6th and the 7th, as the St. Kitts and Nevis Sailing Association will host its annual National Dinghy Championship. And this is a qualifier for the best 3 sailors of each category to represent St. Kitts and Nevis in upcoming regional competitions. See you there. And again, the St. Kitts and Nevis National Dinghy Championship. The St. Kitts and Nevis Sailing Association, they're hosting a sail clinic from July 1st to the 4th. And let the adventure begin, they're saying. And Frigate Bay Beach. And they're inviting all member federations to come on down to Frigate Bay Beach on July 6th and 7th, as the St. Kitts and Nevis Sailing Association hosts its annual National Dinghy Championship. This is a qualifier for the best 3 sailors of each category to represent St. Kitts in the upcoming regional competitions. See you there. And the St. Kitts and Nevis Olympic Committee, they will be having an extraordinary general meeting shortly to elect, the vice president of the SKNOC. The late Alfonso Bridgewater, when he passed, and elections would have been had week before last, where Mr. Dennis Freddie Knight, he was elected to the position of president unopposed, as a matter of fact, unanimously. And he was the immediate past vice president. So he has created that vacancy by his elevation to the presidency. And now an election will be held to elect the vice president of the SKNOC. And we'll be able to update you in a bit and inform you of who would have been the successful candidate, so to speak. We now go straight to the line and say, good evening, Mr. Lewis. Welcome to On the Ball here at WINN-FM 98.9.
Good evening to you, Troy. How are you keeping?
I am blessed, highly favored, and giving thanks. What about you?
Sounds, I will echo those comments. Thank God for life.
Indeed. We here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we are mourning the passing of the deputy director of sports. He would have passed suddenly on Saturday, Sunday, on the weekend. And that was very tough. A well-known man, very big in the sporting arena. And so we have to give thanks for every day we are above ground.
Yeah, didn't know that. But, please accept my condolences,
Thank you very much.
My personal condolences on behalf of the Leeward Islands Cricket Board. To you and the cricket fraternity, the sporting fraternity in St. Kitts and the government, of course.
Thank you very much, sir. How is Antigua doing? I know you have a lot of cricket going up there.
Oh yeah, it's a busy time for cricket in Antigua, as you probably know. We are a host destination for World Cup matches. Actually, we have a match tomorrow starting at 10:30 in the morning. So, things have been quite busy. The focus has been on cricket, and I think on Sunday next, the 23rd, West Indies play South Africa here at 8:30 at night. And I suspect that we're going to have really one interesting game and a really huge crowd to support West Indies in the main.
Indeed, and a lot of predictions are being made, and we must say congratulations to the West Indies team for really forcing its way into the Super 8. A lot of upsets would have happened along the way, and the USA perhaps being one to find itself in the Super 8s, Bangladesh another, Pakistan, even though some may argue Bangladesh and Afghanistan, Afghanistan, they would have been improving themselves over the years, and they're coming a force to be reckoned with. And a lot of predictions who are going to make it into the semi-finals: Australia, West Indies. Is it going to be England? If it's going to be Afghanistan? And we'll have to wait and see.
Well, it makes for a really interesting the business stage of the tournament. It makes a very, very interesting stage of it. And who's the better team on the night will come out. West Indies played one heck of a game last night, and I suppose the hearts of West Indians who support West Indies are filled and still filled, and so they have raised the expectation level of the people across the Caribbean with that performance, because I think we are collectively saying, well, we expect more. And so come the rest of the games in the Super 8, we're certainly expecting West Indies to come out on top. And so we'll see, because I think all the other teams are obviously going to have their plans. Everybody wants to win this World Cup. So it's going to be the better team on the night.
Indeed. And we've seen quite a bit of small scores, and West Indies going above 200, the second time that has happened. And especially coming off of the back of the IPL, where we've been seeing 240 plus, 250 to 60 plus, and then having some very low scores, 106, 113, etc., etc. But as it has been proven, runs on the board are already runs on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Runs on the board. The other team has to get them. The team has to get them. You have already gotten them. I just want to say congrats to West Indies so far. And of course, wishing the team the very, very best going forward.
Indeed. And recently, the Minister of Sports, he has donated a grant of 10,000 EC dollars to Mikhail Louis on being selected for the West Indies team. And the Prime Minister has indicated on a radio station we have here that Mikhail was invited to cabinet where they're going to name the South Stands in Warner Park after him. They're going to give him a piece of land, and they're going to name the street on which he grew up after him. So just showing tangibly the support.
Wow. That's all I can say. Wow. That's exceptional reward. And the young man deserves all of it, He's committed himself to the game. And I just use the opportunity to say congrats to his parents. They have worked extremely hard over the years to get not only Mikael, but to get the boys in general to the next level. I recall his father, speaking to me about spending countless hours in the park where people thought he was not sane, just throwing balls to the guys to get them to a certain level. Mikael has rewarded him now with this selection to the West Indies test team. Truly deserving. First season as a first-class player, and you came out with that performance. It's not many persons who have done this, and he's a confident young man, and I look forward to him doing great things and representing not only himself, but St. Kitts and the Leeward Islands proudly. It's strange, I was thinking today, it's strange that he has come through. The first player from St. Kitts to be selected in a test team has come through at the time when this administration, this Leeward Islands Cricket Administration, which I lead, is reigning and involved in the management of Leeward Islands cricket. It's strange it happened. The guys, the coaches then, Williams, Coach Williams and Cornwall, along with the senior members of the team, Hamilton, Cornwall, Casey Carty, all of them got to take credit because I know they have worked extremely hard with Mikael to get him where he is. The joy you see and the celebration you see with that team when he does well says to you that this is a collective effort. And I just want to congratulate all of them really for sticking to the guns. Leeward Islands is doing exceptionally well now as a team. As a matter of fact, as I speak, I can tell you that I was adding today and just looking at it, and I'm saying, over the past since I took over as president of the Leeward Islands Cricket Board, we have actually had no less than 16 players representing the West Indies at various levels. So I am extremely happy to see exactly what's happening, the progress that we are making, and as I can say to you, this is just the beginning, really. We are going to become the best team in the West Indies. Not maybe, we're going to become the best administration in the West Indies. That's not a maybe either. We are fully on our way there. It is evidenced by the fact that players from right across the Caribbean are calling every day who wants to be part of the Leeward Island cricket franchise. A few days ago, one of my management team members called me to say that this coach from a particular territory called him and was just lauding Leeward Islands the way we have come about and wondering what are we doing over there in terms of just recording the success that we have had at all levels, at pretty much all levels. As you probably know, we won the Under-19 tournament in 2022. And you just can't keep us out of the news because Joel Andrew continues to impress. Nathan Edwards at 18, we drafted him into the franchise. We now have in Ireland on that tour, we got 4 Leeward Islands players. Carlin Tuckett, Pittman, and Joel Andrew, and RJ Amri. We have Alzari and, of course, Louis going to England. Jazari, Claxton as an under-19 player is part of the West Indies under-19 team. So we are making waves. We have already put one woman in Shanisha Hector on the women's senior team. And the goal is to ensure that we populate that team with more people from the Leeward Islands.
As you would expect, the whole entire St. Kitts, particularly, and Nevis, they are most elated about Michael Louis. On the flip side of it, a lot of persons are not too happy that his older brother, Jerry, did not make it into the team, notwithstanding he was the fast bowler with the most wickets, some 30 wickets, and he has been performing consistently well over the last few years. A few years ago, he would have had something like 40 wickets.
Yeah. No, I am unhappy as they are, in terms of his non-selection. And a few years back, he was also, as you mentioned, after 41 wickets, he wasn't. You talk about him not being selected to the senior team. He was not even in the A team that went to England that very year. I still have my emails that I wrote to Cricket West Indies about it, right? Because it was so unjust for somebody who has worked so hard, right? Because he really tries. He's somebody that I communicate with on an ongoing basis and keep encouraging him, because I've said to him, life is not easy, and not everybody gets the same easy passage to success. You just gotta keep working. Keep working. You gotta keep proving yourself over and over again if it's required. Don't give up. Please, don't give up. The only time you don't have a chance is when you're dead. So keep going.
Indeed. Going. And there are a lot of expectations that if and when a West Indies A team is selected and announced, he will find himself in that A team.
Well, he must find himself in that A team. I mean, it would be ridiculous. It would be ridiculous if he's not in the A team. It would be absolutely ridiculous. He must be in that A team. His performance speaks for himself. I don't think that he's waiting for anybody to select him in that West Indies team. I think he narrowly missed out going to England, and he must have narrowly missed out going to England. And if he didn't get into that team, the natural expectation is that you would be in the A team. I can't see a situation where they select an A team and he's not part of it. I have had conversation with persons who are close to the selection system, and I've expressed my concern with him, the way he's treated, and so on, with his omission, constant omission. But I've asked him to continue to do the work. But they have all assured me that he's on the radar. He's part of the depth chart, and so I like I said, I have every expectation that he'll be part of that 18 setup.
Mr. Samuel Spencer. Good evening to you, Sam. How are you doing? A friend of mine, chairman of the Leeward Islands selector. He is extremely passionate about his performance and extremely optimistic that he will definitely make that A team as well. And it all goes well for cricket in St. Kitts and the Leewards. So we await the announcement with great expectations.
Yeah. Speaking of Samuel Spencer, yeah, he is. He's cricket. I think if you take away cricket from him, it's like probably taking away part of his bread or something, some of that bread, because he's all he does is eat, drink, and sleep cricket. So I suppose I suppose that he will continue to follow. It doesn't matter whether or not it's school cricket or club cricket or Leeward Island tournament or test matches. If there's one person in the ground, it's going to be Samuel Spencer. So I know that he really he's really fond, more than fond of the game. We used to say when we were growing up, he's soup, and he's actually one of those persons who we consider to be soup for the game because he eat, breathe, and sleep the game.
I expect that he will be elevated to a West Indies selector in the extremely short future, near future. I only met him in February this year when he was a selector at the game here for the tournament. And I like the way he thinks. I like the way he approaches his job. I like the way he does things. And one of the things I'm very much impressed with is the fact that he has a selector, chairman of selector. He reaches out to the players and say, hey, these are your good points, but these are the areas you need to work on. And he has said it. He has been on this program on the ball several times, live in studio and via Zoom. As recently as 2 weeks ago, he was here. And he indicated that Louis was being bowled down quite often. And he had a chat with him about the movement of the feet. And Louis was able to come to him and say, hey, thank you. Have you seen any improvement? And there was improvement indeed.
Yeah. Look, just to go back to Mikhail a bit. There are some people get runs, there are runs, you see runs scored, and sometimes you judge it by basically, and a lot of times it's judged by quantity, but you also look at the quality, right? You look at Mikhail over the past season, right? Look at what happened. Leeward's in the last game 18 for 3 or 20 for 3, what it is. His senior his senior police colleagues are all, most of them, but they're back in the pavilion. All he did was stick on and get 100. Stick on. This is a first-time player, right? First-year player. And with a bad hand too, with a bad finger. I will say that to you because he's been nursing that injury now for the last 3 games or so. He was nursing that injury. But he stuck around like a mature player, like an experienced player and got 100. That's character. If you were a selector, you're just not looking at the amount of runs or the quad, but you're looking at how he got those runs, the circumstances in which he got the runs. And you have to applaud him for that kind of mindset. So, like I said, he certainly has earned it. He has set standards that we know all expect of him going forward, and he just has to keep those standards. He has to work hard. I said to a young group, speaking with them at a closing ceremony not so long ago, that talent is one thing, but hard work beat talents all the time when talent is not prepared to work hard. So he just needs to keep, he has talent, but he needs to add to that hard work and just keep pushing on. And I think his selection is the incentive probably that he needs to continue to do that. What I'm hoping is that he would have inspired some more players in St. Kitts, because when you are at a certain age, Leeward Island cricket has been around for 112 years, right? And when you look around and you don't see anybody that has been elevated to that level, you start to say to yourself, I wonder if it's possible, right? Well, he was not daunted by that. He pushed ahead, and he has now become the first. And, the whole nation has to be proud of him. And that's why I'm so happy that the government has recognized the effort. And the younger guys who are coming up will look at him and say, well, if he has done it, I think we can do it too, which will mean the further growth of cricket in St. Kitts and by extension the Leeward Islands.
Indeed, I expect that as he has opened the door, the West Indies team will now be flooded with Kittitian players, of course, over a period of time. Mr. Lewis, for those persons who may not know you, tell us a little about yourself, please.
Yeah, Enoch Lewis, I played for Antigua and the Leeward Islands a while back, you know, as a batsman. And I managed to get a few runs in tournaments. I was 2 or 3 times the MVP of the Leeward Islands tournament because I got runs against everybody. Those persons who are more mature in the cricket fraternity in St. Kitts would know of my exploits, right? I'll give you the story. One time, a few years back, I was leaving St. Kitts. I was in St. Kitts and leaving on a Sunday night. And I went to the airport. I was kind of late, and I rushed up to the airport to the ticket agent there and gave him my passport. And so he looked at me. So I know I'm a little late, right? So I'm saying to myself, well, I'm going to miss this flight. So he looked at the passport again. He looked up at me. He says, Enoch Lewis. And I said, yes. And he says, you played cricket? And I said, yeah, I did a little bit. He said, you did a little bit. Enoch Lewis, you did a little bit. Let me tell you, Enoch Lewis, I never liked you at all. So I said, what? He says, look, I go school, Enoch Lewis batting. I come home for lunch, Enoch Lewis batting. School over, Enoch Lewis batting. I never liked you at all. I said, I just laughed. And we had a shake hand, and I said, okay, I understand the passion, right? So those were those days. I mean, I am a banker by profession. I did that. I worked for Scotiabank for an extended period. I left as a senior banker in 2017. I won a championship for Leewards in the 4-day competition, Leewards combined. So, you know, I've been around. I've had my share. A lot of people have said to me that, you know, you were a good player, you know. So I take it that I was decent enough. The Victor Eddies and El Comido Willett and Gishard and of the world, some of the people that I played, the Luther Kellys and so on. So I'm very familiar with St. Kitts, been there so many times. Like I said, I was a banker. I did that firsthand. I was always on Leeward Islands cricket for an extended period. I never really took over the leadership of Leeward Islands cricket. I took it over in 2016 because I knew I was going to finish work as a banker shortly thereafter. I had always planned that I wanted to leave the bank at a certain period of time, and so the plan was around that. And so I at a point when Leewards was not doing so well on and off the field, I decided to put my hat in the ring because I was encouraged to do so. And I became president in 2016. I became the president of Leeward Islands Cricket Board. Just by way of history, when I took over that organization, it was pretty much like a club, a disorganized club, pretty much. There were no policies, no really written policies, no formal policies, no job descriptions per se. They had a couple, because I think Berridge was there and he did some work in terms of putting some stuff together. But for the most part, you know, there were the policies and procedures and that go along with that, and job descriptions, those stuff were not given the attention. One of the other things is that when I took over, you know, we were in a financial mess. When I took over that organization, we were $500,000 in debt. I inherited $500,000 in debt, and a number of letters from lawyers on the ground. They're threatening to to take us to court because of unpaid bills. So I had to quickly get to work to try and see how I can repay those bills. Fortunately, I knew some of the lawyers personally, and I was able to call them to say, look, I am now in charge, and I will ensure that you get paid. And they knew me, they know my character, they know that I'm a person of integrity, and so I was able to get them to understand that, you know, we're not running away as a Leeward Island Cricket Board. We will settle those bills. And I can tell you today, we have repaid that $500,000 in debt, approximately $500,000 in debt. Not only that, when I took over, we had 3 teams. The senior team, the under 19 and under 15. Since I came on board, I've added under 17, I've added a women's program, because every other territory was playing women's cricket and we weren't. So I've added a women's program, now I've added an under 19 program as well. So I got 6 teams to outfit on an ongoing basis. And so that, you know, it's constantly without a major sponsor. So it has proven, you know, challenging. But I think, and the people around me that manage, that are in management capacity, talk about Peter Abraham and Regis Burton, the secretary, and Peter is the CEO. I've spoken to these guys, and we have determined as an organization that we have to have a growth mindset. Nothing is impossible. We're not going to pitch our tent where our financial resources are. We're going to have a plan as to exactly where we want to go, and we're going to aim for it. I've discovered that when you take that approach, things happen. I'll give you a typical example. Before I came on board, there was not an under 17 team. I've added an under 17 tournament to Leeward. I played it in Montserrat, and when we started that tournament, we started it with a budget of $0. Tournament was going to play. I didn't know how we're going to play it, and no. But by the end of it, yes, we did owe some money at the end of it, but we have since repaid all of that. But what happened out of that, you know, we had an under 17 tournament, which was won by Montreal. It was the first under 17 tournament in the life of Leeward Islands cricket. We had the under 17 tournament, we had the senior tournament, and we had the training camp all in Montserrat. And they all worked very, very well. My focus has been to ensure that no territory gets left behind. So, for example, you probably know by now that we introduced what we call a Gold Jacket Award ceremony, which is pretty much honoring the people who have past players and administrators who've done excellent work for Leeward Islands cricket. We hosted the first one of that in the BVI because I wanted to demonstrate that all the territories can play a part in Leeward Islands cricket, right? We have, you know, when a territory have challenges, I try to meet them where their financial needs are, so that because we need participation, we can't afford to. We're too small a territory to be leaving any players behind. Recently, one of the things I did was to add like developmental players to the franchise team. Yeah, there we find a stipend for them, but we get them inside there because we want to expose more and more players, because I don't want Leeward Islands players to be left behind. At 18 years old, I mentioned earlier, Nathan Edwards out of St. Martin is a franchise player. And that is because they drafted a policy which speaks to us finding a pathway for the development of these young players. Joel Andrew is the talk of the town now, not only in the Leeward Islands, not only in the Caribbean, but right across the world right now for everybody who has seen him, the talent. We have a 17-year-old playing first-class cricket for us, and we have an 18-year-old who's decided. So our franchise squad of 14 has in 2 players who are 17 and 18 years old.
That is indeed wonderful.
Yeah.
U.S. Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands, they came into cricket playing as the combined Virgin Islands a few years back. And then they separated. You had the BVI and the USVI.
Right.
One, we haven't really seen Leeward Islands tournament consistently over the past few years. And 2, we haven't seen these 2 teams competing over the past decade plus. So what plans do you have to ensure that Leeward Islands cricket will be played every year, both the 3-day and the 1-day, as well as getting back the British Virgin Islands and the U.S. Virgin Islands back in Leeward's cricket, playing cricket, that is?
Right. Let me talk about the BVI and the USVI a little bit. BVI plays more cricket than most of the territories. BVI and St. Martin, they play cricket every day. Troy, I took the opportunity to go to BVI just to see exactly what's happening on the ground. Troy, they have 1 field. 1, and they have 10 teams. So they practice, all the 10 teams are practicing at 1 field, and they play their matches on the same field. Synthetic material, not turf like we play up here. For a small area too, because you know they're hilly, they're very hilly. These are very hilly island, and so flat space is very limited. But they play a lot of cricket. One of the challenges they have is that unlike the EC territories, where cricket is a national sport, their government and their employers, right, are not cricket friendly, put it that way. And so a guy wants to come and play at Leeward Islands tournament. He's not getting time off. So he has a family to feed and whatever it is. And so he has to make a decision between going to play a tournament and feeding his family. That is one of the biggest problems that has affected both USVI and USVI. We were supposed to play a tournament this year, and they had decided they were going to try and play as a combined island team. And even if they don't play all the matches, they were going to participate. I want to say that we're having a best of the best, and players from those territories are included. That best of the best starts on the 26th of this month. So some of those players are included in the best of the best, so we get an opportunity to see them, right? But I mean, I'm trying to encourage them as much as possible in terms of ensuring that they can participate in the tournament. I doubt we're going to find a situation where a tournament lasts for 3 weeks and they're available for 3 weeks. Our players on the other hand...
Enoch, do you mind holding a second as we have a call coming through? Good evening, caller. Welcome to On the Ball here at WINN FM 98.9.
Good evening, gentlemen. I just tuned in. I was on a Zoom meeting all evening. I just heard a lot of part of your guests. I don't even know what was said before. But is he talking about Leeward Islands cricket and funding and not enough cricket being played? I wanted to just raise one point that I raised some years ago with Mr. Cameron. And the problem that I want to highlight at this time is the Leeward Islands is the only territory that it costs us more money to play cricket in the Leeward than any other territory within the region. And I'm not sure that's been addressed for years. I've already expressed myself to Mr. Cameron, and he hasn't answered me yet. He left office. In order to play Leeward Islands tournament, first and foremost, we have about 7 different organizations as cricket associations.
8.
Where we have to get them together to select the Leeward Islands team. Unlike any other territory except the Windwards, we only have 4. But you could jump on a fishing boat from Dominica to St. Lucia to Grenada to St. Vincent and don't cost them the money. But in the Leeward deal, we got to go to Barbados first to get the visa to play cricket in St. Thomas. And some of us even got to get the visa to play cricket in St. Martin. And some of the times it costs us more money to get to Antigua than to go to Miami to play cricket. So it's a more cost to play cricket in the Leeward Islands and have proper competition. And I believe that should be addressed at West Indies level. And we should have a serious, robust, effective fundraising campaign that's going on in Leeward, in addition to collaboration with the government, whereby that is being sustained. And we get cricket, that should be a focus point, in my humble view.
Okay.
Whereby we get the necessary funding that is required to bring us together, even though we're so close. It's costing us 3 and 4 times as much. We got to discuss with the 7 different organizations who to select and who not to select. And that's a problem. So we leave that with you, gentlemen. I'm not going to take up much of your time. I just jump in at the last minute, and I just started with that matter. Congratulations to Kai Louis. And I do hope that he has opened the gate for more petitions to join. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. We really appreciate your call.
Troy, I certainly appreciate his call too, and I want to echo the sentiments that he just raised with respect to the cost of cricket in the Leeward Islands. I said, and I give by way of example, I said to persons all the time that the president of Barbados can drive his car down to Kensington Oval and watch his team train or go and talk to the players. If I wanted to do that a year ago, or from not 15, I would have to catch a flight, right? I would have to arrange ground transport, hotel accommodation, meals, all of that, right? So it cost me significantly more. As a matter of fact, it cost the guy in Barbados nothing. He drives home, he drives down to Kensington and drive back home, sleep in his own bed, and then no meals and all of that. So it is something that he says that has not been addressed. I have addressed it. I've addressed it with Cricket West Indies, actually, and I'm pleased to report to you that Cricket West Indies just recently agreed to give Leeward Islands Cricket Board an additional $100,000 US per annum to assist with the development of cricket. I took that to Leeward Islands Cricket Board. I've been championing it for a while, and finally I was able to get to Cricket West Indies to agree to $100,000 per annum, which will start this year. So that additional funding will come. We have a fundraising committee, and they're trying to put something together in terms of raising funds. It's so difficult right across the 8 territories. He's correct. I took time out and I wrote to all the governments in the Leeward Island asking them for support for Leeward Islands cricket, just like Barbados government provides support to the Barbados team, and Guyana government to Guyana, and so on and so forth. I asked for that support, but you're dealing now with 8 independent countries, 8 independent heads, and so not everybody is seeing what you're seeing. We have territories, like I mentioned, that are not necessarily that cricket friendly, but they're part of the family, and we have to ensure that we look after each other.
Enoch.
So, yes.
Your elections are coming up, and we just have about 2 more minutes. Time has really flown by. Your elections are coming up on Saturday, the 22nd.
Yes.
You are running again for the presidency. Why should the Leeward Islands units vote for you?
Let me tell you, I'm just going to start by telling you that I mentioned that we have had 16 players from Leeward Islands go to West Indies. We just had the first one from St. Kitts. We had the first one from St. Martin under my tenure, right? So 16 of those players. From a financial standpoint, I oversee the repayment of $500,000 in debt, having taken that over. Our team, the Leeward Island franchise, is one of the better teams now, one of the top 2-3 teams in the Caribbean right now. In the last 4-day championship, we came third. We were leading for a while and was on the verge of winning that. In the Super 50 before that, we were on the podium. We came second. In the 4-day tournament, in the private period here, we came second. So we're there. In 2022, our under-19 team won the Cricket West Indies tournament after not winning it for 22 years. right? We're making progress. I have introduced as a leader, I've introduced what we call a production incentive program, where each territory, any territory that produces a player that gets to West Indies team gets $1,000, right? That has never been happened before. I produced that development pathway. Coming up for the next couple of years, I'm going to bring on an under 16 girls program. I'm going to bring on an under 23 boys program. So there. One of the things that we did, that I'm going to repeat, is that the selectors are going to be asked to look at see the talent that we have, and we're going to surround them. We're talking about young talent because we want to ensure that we sustain ourselves in the under 19 West Indies team. So specifically, we're going to look at the players, surround them with the support that they need, because we have to be in the picture when it comes to selection to West Indies team. And of course, we're looking to as a franchise team to finally win the overall championship after an extended drought.
Last week we had Mr. Carlisle Powell on the program, and he said 3 things, and I need to get your comment on them, please. 1, term limits. He said the executive agreed to term limits sometime last year, and the constitution was sent to a lawyer, and a year later, nothing has been done, so therefore term limits will not come into place for this election. 2, he has been accused by you of an overdraft of some $100,000 when he was president back in 2000-2005. 3, he indicated that the Leeward Islands male team, the Hurricanes, are going to be moved to Antigua. That decision was made, and he, as vice president, did not hear of it. He wasn't involved in any discussions of it. What are your views on those 3 things, please, quickly?
Let me start on the last one. It says that if you go around and ask truthfully anybody in that meeting, including the second person from Davis that was in that meeting, they will tell you that was a fulsome discussion about the move, and nobody objected. Questions were asked, but nobody objected to the move. And so it was passed at the meeting. There was agreement. So that's a lie. As it relates to the term limits, that's ongoing. I'm sure I would imagine that within a short order, the Constitution, and it doesn't have to do with term limits only. It has to do with a number of other changes to the Constitution. So as a responsible organization, what we have done is to say from time to time, we're going to do a revision of our Constitution. That is part of it. And when that comes into being, it will happen. You'll have term limits. Cricket West Indies also had a situation where they were trying to introduce term limits. And it hasn't happened up to now because, territories, you need the members to agree, right? And that hasn't happened yet, but that will happen. The third one was what again?
The overdraft of $100,000 when he was president.
If you look at the records, I have the records which show that between 2001 and 2006, Carlisle Powell was president of the Leeward Islands Cricket Board. During that period of time, there were no financial statements, independent financial statement presented to any meetings. As a matter of fact, in 2005, the records show that whereas they were supposed to have elections in December 2005, the then President Carlisle Powell was away in England, and he gave the excuse that he had to go look for his family. There was an overdraft. That's at the meeting they had. When they asked about the debt in the absence of financial statement that could read, it was revealed that there was an overdraft at the Nevis National Bank for $100,000. And the members and directors were saying that they were surprised by it. They were not aware of it. I can tell you that it is true because it is true that overdraft existed, because the regime that took over from him, which was led by a gentleman by the name of Gregory Shillingford, became president, had to pay off that overdraft and it came at the request of the same people, Powell and so on, because it is saying that the report is showing that they indicated that they put up personal property, and the personal property was being jeopardized, and so it needs to be repaid. And so funds funds were allocated from Leeward Islands Cricket Board to pay off that overdraft. It's not a situation that I'm trying to make up. If you look at the records, I can show you that memo that dates back to 2001. There was an overdraft for 400,000.
The thing about it is, that was something like what, 20 years ago or thereabout. So the question, question is, Mr. Lewis, how come there wasn't anything? We weren't hearing about this over the last 20 years.
Because after 2005, he left Leeward Islands Cricket, and then he came back 4 years ago now. He came back initially for 2 years, and then for the last 2 years he has been president. He has been the vice president of the organization. But he left, and in the absence of financial statements, there were no financial statements that were. The first time Leeward Islands Cricket Board saw financial statements, it dates to 2016 when I took over. Because as a banker, right, and as a person of integrity, I understand, not only for me, but for Leeward Islands Cricket Board. So when you approach an entity like Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, which we did to find sponsorship, I know they're going to ask you, where's your stewardship? Where are your independent audited financial statements? And we were able to place them in front of them. And they were very well, let's say complimentary about what they were seeing in terms of us being able to produce independent audited financial statements. So you would not have seen it because there were no financial statements. I'm guided by the historical documents that are before me. I mean, I can tell you this, that I'm looking now as I'm speaking to you, I'm looking at a report that was done by Carlisle Powell in November 2001, right? And in that report, he said that the Leeward Islands had hardship, which was presented by abject poverty. This is what he wrote, right? This is the report I'm speaking to you of. And so it's a situation where the Leeward Islands Cricket Board was pretty much run on a reef at that time. As it is now, I speak to you, we are a debt-free organization. We don't have any loans. We don't have any loans. I will report to everybody, to the public in general, on an annual basis.
One final thing, Mr. Lewis, you did mention about your green jacket affair.
Gold jacket, yes.
Forgive me, gold jacket, which started in the BV, I think it was 2022.
Yes.
I remember when I heard of it, I expected the first and test umpire from the Leeward Islands to be afforded that courtesy, the late Andrew Weeks. He umpired, I think it was the first test match in Antigua in 1983, I think it was. And 41 years later, today he's the only Leeward Islands umpire to have umpired a test match. Mr. Patrick White, the late Patrick White, may his soul rest in peace, the first Leeward Islander to be the president of the West Indies Cricket Umpires Association. So when might consideration be given to these two gentlemen to be afforded the courtesy of the gold jacket?
Let me tell you what we decided initially, that we were going to give these jackets to persons while they are alive so they could enjoy it. So we've been trying to get to, as you know, the El Comida Willets, the Andy Roberts. So far we have on El Comida, Andy Roberts, Viv Richards, Jim Allen. We're trying to get to persons while they're alive so they could actually enjoy the moment. The focus was not on those persons in the past. We decided that we were going to put a memorial board in place for those persons who have passed and would have served Leeward Island cricket with distinction. We can still revisit it and see whether or not, we can hand out a gold jacket. But we wanted presence at those in the initial gold jacket. We wanted presence. We want an Andy Roberts to be there to show up. We wanted Elcombe to be there, where people could shake hands and talk to them. And so that was the thinking. That was the thinking then. And so it's not a case that we have forgotten Andrew Weeks. But we'll find a way to honor him and Basil Morgan and that kind of people for their contribution to Leeward Islands Cricket Board. There are a number of persons. You talk about the president, the Wilkins of St. Kitts. We have a number of great players, the Harrises and so on. But the focus now is on ensuring that those persons who are yet alive, right, can actually walk up on stage and receive that jacket. It was an idea that we conceived of because we want to ensure that not only on the field but off the field, that we were an organization that was progressing, and we recognize the contribution of other folks. I want to mention again that as it relates to the expansion of the franchise to Antigua, that was done in a meeting of the Leeward Islands Cricket Board, and anybody who tells you anything different is not being truthful, right? It's just not being truthful.
Mr. Lewis,
So, yes.
we have to end now, and we do appreciate the fact that you took time out to be with us. We should have ended the program at 9 o'clock, and I must thank my producer for allowing us to go. It's on 11 past, and we thank you very much for your contribution, making yourself available, and we wish you all the best in the upcoming elections, and we will have you on the program at some time in the near future.
Yes, thanks, Joy. Thanks for inviting me. It was a pleasure. I will end by just saying again, a big thank you to you, and congrats to the Louis family in particular. It's hard work. I congratulated the young man. I sent him a message, and I've been communicating with him. So I want to congratulate him, right? Particularly, but I want to congratulate his family. The support that you get to get you to that level is necessary, and I know that he had that support. And so I just want to end by saying, congrats to his mom and dad, and of course his brother, who would have bowled him a few short balls in the meantime, so that he knows how to hook. And there's a middle brother I know too that everybody has forgotten, most people have forgotten, who is also a cricketer too. But we will see how much he's inspired. So they've done well as a family, and just want to wish them all the best going forward.
Thank you very much, Enoch. We really appreciate it. And best wishes for the upcoming elections.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
You've been listening to On The Ball here at WinFM 98.9. We thank our guests. Our last guest, Mr. Enoch Lewis, the president of the Leeward Islands Cricket Board, who will be contesting, going up again for another term come Saturday at the Leeward Islands Cricket Board's election. And the director of sports, Mr. Jeffrey Hazel. We invite you to join us again next week, Tuesday from 7 to 9, when we'll do it all over again. And we thank you. We thank the callers who actually called. We really appreciate that. And we invite you to come on board and be a partner with us, sponsor us, the program On The Ball. Please call 466-9586, or you could contact me, Troy Biff Mills, at 668-2055, and we will be able to work out a package for you. Thanks a lot again, ladies and gentlemen. As I slip away, always be positive in your thoughts, your words, and your actions.